Good day, Attorney Noemi and classmates. My case for discussion is of Ramon Joaquin versus Antonio Navarro. This case was decided on May 29, 1953. To introduce the parties to you, the petitioner Ramon Joaquin is the natural child of Angela Joaquin and the adopted child of his mother, Angela Joaquin, and her husband, Joaquin Navarro Sr. Herein respondent is Antonio Navarro, who is the son of Joaquin Navarro Sr. in first marriage. So this is a summary proceeding to resolve the order of the deaths of Joaquin Navarro Jr. and his mother, Angela Joaquin de Navarro. So facts of the case. While the battle for the liberation of Manila was raging on February 6, 1945, the whole family sought refuge at the ground floor of a building called German Club. While staying there, it was set on fire by the Japanese, who simultaneously fired at the refugees therein, especially those who attempted to flee. The three daughters, Pilar, Concepcion, and Natividad, were hit and they died from gunshot and fall. Their mother, Angela, who was 67 years old, refused to leave the building, even when Joaquin and his son, Joaquin Navarro Sr. and his son, were trying to convince her that they leave the building in order to find a safer haven. However, she was firm in refusing, and so she was left behind. Joaquin Sr. and his son Joaquin Jr., as well as Jr.'s wife, Adela Conde, and their old neighbor Francisco Lopez, dashed out of the burning building by themselves to find a safer haven, again leaving Angela behind. As they came out, Joaquin Jr. was shot in the head by a Japanese soldier and immediately dropped. The others laid flat on the ground in front of the club premises to avoid the bullets. Minutes later, the German club, already on fire, collapsed, trapping many people inside, presumably including Angela Joaquin. Adela and Francisco sought refuge in an air raid shelter where they hid for 3 days. On their way to St. Teresa Academy on February 10, 1945, they met Japanese patrols. Joaquin Sr. and Adela were hit and killed. Only Francisco Lopez survived from the group. From this group, only Francisco Lopez survived. The trial court ruled that Angela Joaquin outlived her son, as this is a matter of estates of the deceased. The trial court ruled that Angela Joaquin outlived her son. However, the Court of Appeals ruled that the son outlived his mother. And this case at bar now is a petition for review by certiorari. So the issue of the case is whether or not Joaquin Navarro Jr. survived his mother, Angela. In other words, which of the two died first, which is an essential information needed in when we're talking of estates of the deceased. The ruling of the Supreme Court reversed the decision of the Court of Appeals, upholding, therefore, the decision of the trial court, which ruled that Angela Joaquin outlived her son, meaning mas naunang namatay si Joaquin Jr. So the Supreme Court was constrained to reverse the decision under review and held that the distribution of the decedent's estate should be made in accordance with the decision of the trial court, as mentioned earlier. The rationale behind it are as follows. Number 1 is Rule 123 of Section 69 of the Revised Rule of Courts. When two persons perish in the same calamity, such as wreck, battle, or conflagration, and it is not shown who died first, and there are no particular circumstances from which it can be inferred, the survivorship is presumed from the probabilities resulting from the strength and age of the sexes. Second is Article 33 of the Old Civil Code. In the New Civil Code, this is Article number 43. Yes. Okay. Which reads, whenever a doubt arises as to which the first to die of the two or more persons who would inherit one from the other, the person who alleges prior death of either must prove the allegation. In the absence of proof, the presumption shall be that they died at the same time, and no transmission of rights from one to the other shall take place. Third, both 1 and 2, so both this Rule 123 and Article 33 or Article 43 in the New Civil Code will be substitute if there are no facts. But since there are facts in this case, then they won't be applicable. Where there are facts known or knowable from which a rational conclusion can be made, presumption does not step in. Facts are far more credible because witness was found disinterested, trustworthy, and entitled to credence by courts. Fourth, fair and reasonable inference would suggest that Joaquin Jr. died before his mother, based on the survivor's testimony. So the survivor, as mentioned earlier, was Francisco Lopez. So fair and reasonable inference was deduced from established facts and has a strong probability. The opposite theory, which was that the mother, Angela, died before Joaquin Jr., would be based on mere surmises, speculations, and conjectures. Of course, a credible testimony is a far more valid basis for this judgment. And fifth, the Supreme Court has jurisdiction to look into this case because it involves the issue of correctness of the conclusion or judgment and not only of the evidence or facts. So that is all for this case. Thank you.